And what is up, everybody? Welcome to another day here of the ASL Season 16. We are about to wrap up the round of 8.
Yeah, it's been a really great round of 8 thus far. That last match, Mini vs. Sharp, we definitely had some very tight games in. And, like, I am cautiously optimistic still about this Zerg vs. Zerg. Generally, this would be the type of match that you're a little bit less excited about. But these two gave us the best Zerg vs. Zerg we've literally ever seen. Could they do it again? I think that would put this match into one of those higher echelons of, like, this is one of the best round of 8 matches ever.
I think that ZVZ is more interesting now than it has ever been. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what these two are going to show us here today. I mean, we've already seen some insane late-game ZVZ, which I guess you were familiar with the Startosis. I really wasn't. I had no clue that you could really get past mutas other than maybe getting a Defiler with Plague or maybe a Queen with Ensnare or maybe a Devour or something like that. But
Yeah.
we had some crazy games, but not even just that. We've also had this technique of a hatchery at the ramp and then a gas geyser at the expansion where they're going to long distance mine, which has been really fun.
Yeah, it has been like newer looking Zerg vs. Zerg, a lot of new strategies and tactics coming out. You know, it isn't just the Hive play that was so exciting. So yeah, we could see like a big range of stuff, and honestly, both these guys are willing to try different things as well. Now, taking a look at this round of 4, it's like an insanely good round of 4, and whoever joins it is going to be deadly. But I said after we saw effOrt like win his group earlier on, I feel like he can win this season, man. Like, I think if he takes down action here, which is totally doable, we might just see him be a champion again in ASL.
It is totally possible. And effOrt was one of these guys always within the kind of the top 10 greatest players in the era pre-StarCraft 2. So it's going to be an interesting match for sure.
돌아온 불사조 이륙 준비를 마친 상황입니다.
어려우면 어려울수록 강해지는 김정우. 불사의 매정우다라는 이런 생각이 진짜.
지옥에서 돌아 불사조 또 살았어요. 8강 진출.
가전제 승부에서 여러 가지 전략을 선보일 준비가 되어 있는 뒤쪽의 플레이가 앞쪽의 수업이.
김성대 선수 입장에서도 잡을 뻔한 경기 눈앞에서 놓쳤어요.
확실히 그 이전보다도 더 나은 그런 실력들, 또 이 진화한 듯한 그런 모습을 보여주는.
피해야 됐는데 또 만났어요. 취재.
It's time for the final game of the round of 8 here at the AfreecaTV StarCraft League Season 16 with Hot 6. Today's contenders are two-time champion effOrt, once again knocking on the door of the semi-finals, and back-to-back round of 8 player from last season, Action. As we all await the CVZ, let's say hi to the players. effOrt, you made it into the quarterfinals as the first place finisher of Group 8 in the round of 16. Up next, a best of 5 ZVZ with Action as your opponent. What are your thoughts? Well, I keep having to play this mirror. I had to play it in the round of 24 and then again in the round of 16. I really wanted to avoid having to play it here, but whatever. It's happening, so I prepared regardless. The last time you played a best of 5 ZVZ was in the round of 4 of the Vant National StarLeague. That really was a while back. Considering this is your first official best of 5 ZVZ since then, did you have any difficulty preparing? I didn't have much trouble preparing, but it has been a while, so I'm a little worried. Well, let's talk to Action as well. Hello. Action, you make the round of 8 back-to-back from last season. This is the first time you'll be playing a best of 5 ZVZ in the ASL. How do you feel about the fact that effOrt is your opponent for this match? I'm not one to pay much attention to that. The fact it's a best of 5 too doesn't faze me. But just like effOrt, I kind of wanted to avoid having to play a mirror here, so... the more I talk to you guys, the more sorry I feel. But you do have a winning record against effOrt. I'm sure that must give you some peace of mind. To be honest, all ZVZs are kind of the same. As far as effOrt's strong points go, he creates extremely multitasking heavy games, and also he's very difficult to throw off of his game. You say effOrt's forte is the ability to stay composed. It seems Action has done his analysis of your play, effOrt. I would like to ask you the same thing. What do you think of Action as an opponent in DVZ? Well, I did lose to him in the round of 24 last time. He did really well. He seems to have come prepared for a similar match, so I've got some builds prepared. Oh, you're showing up as a different effOrt than the effOrt Action recognizes. I see. You're standing in each other's path towards the semi-finals. What do you think is the winning factor today, effOrt? In a best of 5, winning the first game is the most important. I also think it'll come into play today. The first set, Polypoid, is the key, says effOrt. What about you, Action? Same here. Personally, the first game in a best of 5 is the most important one. If you win it, you get to feel comfortable, so... I'm getting a very confident vibe from you in this interview, Action. What score would you predict for this series? I just want to seem confident. I did my best every game I played. I'll win today too. And if you win, what score will it be? 3-1. Action says with confidence he won't give you more than one set. What will you say to that effort? If I win, I would also like to take it with 3-1, but I don't know. You really have to get lucky in a ZVZ. I hope I have some luck today. Understood. Let's hear your final remarks. effOrt. It's been a while since I made it to the round of 8. I'll do my best to deliver a good series. Can't wait. Action! I also prepared diligently. I'd like to go to the round of 4. Regardless of who wins today, I hope one of us makes it into the finals. Understood. I'm looking forward to an awesome series for both sides. Thank you for the interview. And that does it for the pre-game interview ahead of the last match in the round of 8 of ASL 16 with Hot 6. As we wonder who's going to be the last player to join the semi-finals lineup, let's have an in-depth look at what's in store today.
All right, man. We're getting into it. Tastosis, who do you think takes this?
I'm going to go with effOrt. Like, the thing is, I know that we're perpetually underestimating Action. I know that that's occurring.
We kind of do.
Yeah, even though we even pointed out all the time that this is happening to him. effOrt is one of the greatest Zergs of all time. He looks like he's in great shape. I always think of him as a more aggressive, micro-oriented Zerg than Action is. And I think that that helps you a lot in Zerg vs. Zerg. So yeah, looking at this best of 5, I'm choosing effOrt. How about you?
I'm kind of going with Action, to be totally honest with you. I think that he is just, you know, he grinds so much. I've been casting some of his games that I found off of Seawall. By the way, if you guys don't know, Seawall, CWAL.GG, you can get any replay from anybody who's playing on the ladder. And I've been casting some of Action's games on my YouTube channel, and like, he's so strong and he's so active and he grinds so hard.
Yep.
You know, he to me, he's like one of these players that is not. The game didn't come naturally to him, but he's worked so hard and put in so many hours, and he's so steadily improved. I feel like he's probably gonna take this against effOrt.
All right, yeah, no, it's a completely fair take. He is one of the hardest workers out there, and I do agree with your assessment. But I think effOrt, you know, obviously every pro gamer has grinded really hard to get where they are, with the exception of Protoss players. But effOrt, you know, I think he's actually a very talented player as well. So like when he is really grinding, which I assume he must be here in the round of 8, like I really believe in effOrt. I mean, he's the only guy that can beat Flash in championship matches. You know, he has 2 titles over Flash. No one else has ever done that.
It's true, and you know, also effOrt is one of these players pre-StarCraft 2 that is now back and is looking very strong and very active. We don't have a lot of the old gods that are still able to hang with the very best. I mean, I guess Bisu comes to mind, and Jaedong has recently been playing very well, although he got knocked out earlier in this tournament. But to see effOrt playing as well as he is really exciting.
For sure. It's, you know, well, whatever it's going to happen, it's Zerg versus Zerg. There is a lot of volatility. So everything we say is like, well, I mean, let's say that maybe you're right and Action is actually a little bit better, but what if he gets the wrong build order, you know, 4 times in a row? Is he going to be able to you know, because there is a little bit of rock, paper, scissors-ness going on to the openers where someone can have a big advantage, right? Like a very quick 9 pool against a hatch first, that type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I mean, ZVZ early game can be very punishing. But, you know, with these new maps and everything and a lot of these new play styles, I'm very interested in seeing, you know, what kind of games these two can create. In the meta in ZVZ, we are seeing more hatch in main, but not adjacent to the starting hatchery. It's actually oftentimes hatchery at the ramp, which is a little bit different. And then from there, occasionally we see an extractor made at the natural and long distance mining to get a Vespian gas boost that can allow you to overtake them for a small window of time as the Mutalisk accumulation phase is happening in ZVZ.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we will be seeing some of those things. It really depends on like your spawn, where that gas is going to be in relation to it. You know, some of these ramps, like we saw, I think it was Queen, found this one spot where he put the hatchery down and it was so close. He was like basically mining with 3 drones and it was like pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's like a lot of room for some very interesting plays here. So it'll be cool to see how prepped they have that. But there's been enough CVZs that we've seen that have kind of looked like that it's totally on these guys' radars.
Yeah, I would be surprised if we didn't have that happen in one of these games here today. But yeah, these two guys should make for some very, very interesting ZVZs. And, you know, it's been overall this tournament a very Zerg-dominant tournament.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes you have a tournament where you really have to be good at against one specific race, in this case Zerg, in order to come out on top. And we're really seeing that get tested here in this round of 8 with these two.
Yeah, and don't forget, we have Sulky on the other side of the match, right? So whoever wins this, if it turns out to be a finals against Sulky, they've already shown a lot of their best stuff. So, all right, look at that. That guy has the right idea,
the
man.
Windows logo, yeah.
These are some good signs from these guys.
Fans coming down. Yeah. It's so fun to see people coming down and having fun. So they do supply you with these, even the gamer babies are down here.
Yeah, look at that. Covering up that little head. He's like, I don't want you to see this Zergling death, little baby.
Yeah, that's right. Just cover your eyes. Yeah, you can get these little poster boards they have down there. And you can make your own signs and come down. It's a lot of fun. So definitely, if you haven't seen this live StarCraft match, put that on your bucket list.
Seriously, there's so much energy in there. Like the audiences are slightly mic'd, but like you can't hear it that well, honestly, on the broadcast. But people go crazy. It's a really fun, exciting thing to be there cheering on the players, and And having everyone else around you be like, oh, these are my people, right? These are people who also enjoy this 25-year-old game competitively.
Yeah, this is one of the only, nothing quite like this in the whole world, man.
That's for sure.
Quarter of a century-year-old game. People are still playing it. It looks like we're ready to get into this best of 5. It's going to be Polypoid, Neo Dark Origin, Invader, La Campanella. I'm never going to get used to saying that map's name. And then Tempest for our final map. And we're ready to go. Guys, this is the final best of 5 in the round of 8 here to see who moves on to the round of 4 in the ASL Season 16. Okay, we've got effOrt here in the bottom right, and sharing the right side of the map in the very top right is going to be Action.
And it looks like they're both going to send their overlords horizontally, so they're not going to find each other at the same time. So that's that kind of evens it up a little bit.
Yeah.
One thing to mention. What?
Yeah, go ahead. I don't think we've ever quite said they're both going to not fight each other at the same time.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
Well, we gotta mix it up, Tastosis. I don't want us to turn into soundboards, which I mean they probably could at this point. But if we start saying some new stuff, who knows? But just mentioning the natural here of Action points towards the main base of effOrt. A lot of times that makes it just a tiny advantage in Mutalisk play, where there's a wider area that Action could fly into effOrt, like his main or his natural. Whereas for effOrt, he can't really fly into the main without going through the natural, or going so far around it doesn't make sense, right? So that makes me feel like, maybe a slight advantage if they get into a Mutalisk-based game for Action.
Yeah, definitely something to watch for here. So, ZVZ, it's always had, I guess, these fundamental limitations because it's very hard to tech past Mutalisks or to tech around Mutalisks. But we have seen some pretty crazy late games as of late. I thought for a second he was going to make that hatchery there on the ramp. It looks like he is, in fact, going to go down here and make this at his expansion. But we did see a crazy late game with these two. That was a real treat to cast, and I've got my fingers crossed that we're going to have that a little bit more. For me personally, it's such an uncharted territory, late game ZVZ. But if there was any two players that could bring us a long and crazy and dramatic game, it would be these two.
Yeah. One thing to mention, right, is that effOrt has gone for a 9 pool here, and it is a hatchery first from Action. So we definitely have some potential. This is definitely considered effOrt favored, and if he sends the Lings directly to the north, which I believe he will here, there is a possibility that he could pick up a quick victory.
Yeah, I mean, this is already looking pretty bad. I see 2 Zerglings hatching, and I don't see any Lings hatching right now for Action. I mean, is this game just going to end outright? Now, it kind of feels like it.
He did split the Lings because he doesn't know where his opponent is. And now he's going to find it and see, oh, I have 9 pool, probably with speed here against a hatch first. So 4 Lings are being made, but if Action wants to save the hatchery, he has to pull drones. And this is where it is very possible that you end up losing the game as Action.
Yeah. So he needs to try to basically drill and then run and cause enough of a distraction. Dude, this hatchery is so low. It's like 25% HP here. And the Lings have not... Oh, man.
Dude, it is looking like a very quick one as Lings pop out from the main, from the natural. Action will come back down and fight once again. And now it's looking like he should be able to hold on, but is he going to be okay as far as the drone count goes? He did lose several drones there, but don't forget, he now has more larvae. So a lot of times what happens in this case is Action will go for like a Zergling all-in while effOrt is trying to tech to Mutalisks.
Yeah, Link speed's done, and you can see that effOrt's, seeing if there's any way he can maneuver around everything that's over here. And another drone falls. He actually comes in there and snipes one. The ramp is not blocked, although you can see Action intended for that to be sealed up. And right now, effOrt's just playing an amazing game here. there is a creep colony being planted over here in the main and a spire out in the front. And so we'll see what this counterattack from Action can do. But right now, I'm really feeling this for effOrt.
Yeah. I definitely would agree with you, but hold on. We have a big counterattack coming in. That's a lot of lings. He does have a sunken colony that's being made. He drills the drones into that little hole. Look at that beautiful, beautiful blocking with the drones. He is going to lose some workers here, so that is a bit of an issue. effOrt taking some damage as well. Look at effOrt's supply. 8 supply, 6 drones. That's rough, man.
Yeah. The Spire is almost finished here. And, you know, I worry a little bit here for effOrt. He's dropping a couple Zerglings here and there. And, you know, when you're on one hatchery especially, you really got to make sure that you don't drop any lings at all. Every ling is very precious.
Well, he's getting up into his mutalisks. I think he's probably making some mutas right now, but spores are going to be created here by Action. So, you know, a moment ago it did feel like effOrt was doing well, but the ling attack is awesome. He comes in with more lings and is actually going after the Spire. If you pop this Spire, then effOrt, I think, is dead.
Yeah, and this Spire is going down. There's just nothing that effOrt can do. So now he's got 3 mutas in the mix. I'm sure there's probably one more that's going to hatch here, but he's now stuck on maybe 4, probably 5 maximum mutalisks in this game.
And if you just spread a few spores around, like he'll probably have to pull that bottom drone off that mineral patch, put it on a different one, but about 2 spores, maybe 3 should be able to hold off these mutas easily. I think he's making probably, okay, that is going to be another spore. Yeah, this is a tough situation for effOrt because he needs to refill his drones, he needs to attack, he needs to remake a Spire. There's a lot of bad things going on for him.
Yeah, but he does get the 4 Zerglings up here. This is a great technique when you're in a game like this that you can get in between the 2 hatcheries and cut off the circulation between the 2. And there's really not anything to defend on the ground other than 2 Zerglings here for Action.
Yeah, he wants to send his Zerglings up to help, but that's why the mutas are kind of hanging around here. They want to pick off any that come in. He does have a second group of Zerglings outside the base. So look at this. He uses the mutas, he pushes these back, and if the lings come up from the natural, he can attack into the natural with his additional Zerglings.
So, you know, I think this game is going to go on. You know, for the time being, there is this position that effOrt has created, but he's not getting a whole lot from it. The drones are basically hugging the upper side of the mineral patches. Back at home, I'm sorry, is there no Spire being made, or are we just not getting?
I think he might.
Camera?
I think he might be all in right now. Like, he has made a lot of lings. He might have decided that this is the way to try to take this, but I don't think that's going to be able to win, man. Look at this. He comes in, runs more lings up the ramp. Some of them are going to get caught, loses 1, takes some damage, but now he actually does have a pretty scary amount of lings up here. Looks like it's going to be time for an attack.
Yeah, Action's being very patient. The Spire has restarted, and it's possible we even see the Spire targeted down again here. But yeah, he's not quite getting very much done, and it just seems like back at home, Action has more Zerglings.
Yeah, the 2 hatches really paying off. He has more drones as well. These mutas taking a ton of damage. He's trying to kill off this evolution chamber. It's kind of blocking. In comes the counterattack here from Action. Unable to really do anything against that sunken and a quick drone pull. Oh, did he lose a muta? I think he did.
Oh, he might have. I think you're right. Action does have control of his ramp right now. Looking pretty good. You know, the mutas just aren't really getting much done. He actually does not kill that Evo. I guess he's going to send 1 mutalisk back there to get it. He's got to be careful, though. You know, the mutalisks, they have a tendency to drift, even when they're attacking. And they're supposed to be on hold position, but the way the game is programmed, they can very slowly glide into range of things like spores. So you got to be very careful with that.
Well, right now he is chasing down a lot of these Zerglings of Action. Action trying to split them up so that he can keep some on the map as some counterattack potential. The Spire is back. Dude, if effOrt recovers from this game, that's pretty impressive, right? He dropped a 6 supply or 8 supply from that Zergling attack, lost his Spire, and he's certainly struggling. But it seems like Action, like he's going to get his evolution chamber back up. He's going to make more spores, and he is making a layer. So eventually, we're going to see him go into mutas himself.
Yeah, this is a situation that can happen very often in CVZ where one player has the mutas, but the other one has the expansion. And it's one of the pathways into a late game ZVZ, assuming that the player that has the expansion can survive and start to muster up his own Mutalisks. But I don't see any real way that either of these two can kill each other off for the time being. Action played a very good defense game here in the mid game.
Now some Micro coming in here, trying to put some damage onto that morphing spore. He is taking a hit every time he goes in, but certainly dealing a lot more damage. So this spore is going to get denied. That's a very good move. That allows him to hold off those bottom patches. It's a very good drone count from Action, but he's not getting as much mining as he would like.
Another spore comes down, but this one is also just not in a safe position. Look at this. You don't very often see this in ZVZ, but effOrt sends back his wounded Mutalisks to basically defend and regenerate HP instead of risking the possibility that a stray spore shot kills him.
Yeah, being very careful at that. His Mutalisk count is actually getting pretty darn high. He did force those mutas back, so he should be able to get that spore colony up now, which will allow his secondary gas. But now, I feel like effOrt has tread this line so carefully. He is going to have that second gas. And we have a lot of spores for Action, so I don't think he dies. But how do you catch up in this Mutalisk count? It's like you're not going to. You're not going to catch up in mutas. Dude, could we, on game one, have a game that goes beyond layer tech?
I mean, I think it's very possible, Tastosis. By the way, these links do come in there and get the kill on that drone. Pretty big moment. Let's not forget that effOrt is pretty low on drones in general. But also, effOrt's coming in here with these mutas now and basically gunning down these drones, although it looked like he might have misclicked there and actually hit the Overlord.
Yeah, that seems like too deep of a dive. And he actually catches a drone over there. That's kind of funny. Maybe a sneak expansion was going to be going up. But losing two Mutalisks, suddenly I'm like, oh, can Action catch that Mutalisk count? It is a lot of mutas out here right now, but Action's starting to spend that gas. He's going to start fielding those units, and he is trying to take a third base. Yeah.
And it is actually okay to have a very obscure third base in ZVZ. You don't have to necessarily expand, close to your other two bases. So I'm interested to see if that's going to be a thing. This is a great play, by the way, to get in here and get in between the two hatcheries this long in the game, where you might catch Mutalisks in a rally and get kills that way. Because we have to remember, right now effOrt has more Mutalisks. He's just ahead of the game in that sense. But Action has been mining enough gas that he could catch up. But it's really important that you try to stay ahead in the Mutalisk count, because that's fundamentally one of the only things you have to focus on in this matchup at this phase of the game.
Yeah, and I bet you right now they do have upgrades going as well. Those carapace upgrades are going to be really important. That is a big group of mutas that Action has grown into. He only has damage on one of them. We do have more mutas for effOrt right now. And honestly, his are pretty healthy too. So, yeah, I think Action has to stay turtle. There's the Queen's Nest, Tasteless. Yes!
We're doing it. It's happening.
Oh, God, I'm so happy.
Oh, man. ZVZ has never been better. It just took us a quarter of a century to get there, but here we're finally here.
Honestly, even if this one were to end on Ling Muta, this has been a dynamic, interesting Ling Muta game, right? There's been a lot of back and forth here, so it's already a great ZVZ. But if we actually see other tech, man, it starts to get to an unreal level.
We don't have upgrades yet on either side. We can see the observer keeps clicking on individual Mutalisks to see if there's going to be any sign of anything finishing, but no air attack, no armor. Generally, armor is considered the upgrade you should get, but we do have builds where you get the air attack as well. Scourge are now going to be made here for effOrt, along with that, which is going to allow him to clobber Action if they get into any fight that's not over the spores.
Yeah, that +1 air attack, it's cheaper than the Flyer Carapace. The Carapace is better in Mutaverse Muta, but any upgrade is going to be fantastic, right? So that does definitely make a big difference. A lot of Scourge patrolling. That's effOrt's nod towards the fact that he doesn't have spores, right? That's kind of the main thing here. That's what's keeping Action in the game. Is that he has all these spores, and in fact, that's very smart. He's throwing down another colony because you do need to actually add spores, because the spores are like really good. They have lots of health. They do a lot of damage. But as those Mutalisk counts grow, you can actually start to ignore spores unless you get unreal numbers.
So we have the armor upgrade done now for Action. So, you know, if they do get into a head-to-head, if we were to just, like, subtract the Scourge factor, technically, if they're even on numbers, Action wins the fight. Air armor does beat air attack. As Tastosis said earlier, the armor is a little bit more expensive, but we now have to then, after that statement's made, add back in the Scourge and see, okay, how many Scourge are going to connect? Because armor plays really no role when it comes to Scourge coming in.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
two
right.
Scourge and you're dead, or one Scourge and a Muta shot and you're basically gone.
So Greater Spire is what Action's going for. So specifically here, he wants to get Devourers. You know, Devourers are very, very good if you have just a couple in there. The Acid Spores, it's basically like negative armor. And it's splash damage there as well. Well, splash spores. So if you get like even one Devourer shot off on a group of Mutalisks, dude, that's like insane how much extra damage they're going to take from your Mutas.
And, you know, it's one of the rarest units in the game.
Yes.
Whenever I see one, I'm like, what is this thing?
Yeah, you don't really play against it much
looking unit.
in any
It's
matchup.
Protoss.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't see it if you're a Terran player. You don't see it if you're a Protoss player, but it does have a function in the game. It is a clunky unit, to point out. It's kind of the opposite of a Mutalisk. A Mutalisk is one of the most microable units. You can really extract value by controlling it more and more. Where a Devourer is a very maybe the clunkiest air unit. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's kind of like a Valkyrie in some ways with its movement, where it's like it's slow, it shoots kind of slow, and it kind of gets stuck in position. It's not very microable. It has to like stop, and then it's almost like it's thinking about whether it should attack, and then it attacks. It's definitely not microable.
It's like the least iconic unit from the StarCraft 1 expansion, from the Brood War expansion.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's not even like a lot of fan art of it or anything like that. But we've got a couple coming, and here they are. And even when I look at this unit, I'm like, this is not supposed to be in the game. They should have redesigned this thing.
But I mean, it can make a difference here for sure. Now, 1/1 upgrades,
100%.
and don't forget, like it's not something that you're going to be able to dodge Scourge with. So I think that's what, because effOrt knows what's going on. He saw the Hive, he saw the Greater Spire morphing. So I think he just wants to use Scourge to pick off the Devourers, and then win the battle with 1/1 Mutas against like slightly less Mutas.
And we've got a Queen's Nest. Oh, he cancels the Queen's Nest.
Wow.
Whoa, that's big. Okay, so what happened there, he got scouted for a second. He showed the Queen's Nest. Now, this is where I'm a little bit out of my depth, if I'm going to be totally honest with everybody. What is the alternate tech route if you cancel the Queen's Nest? I feel like this can only go in one direction.
Okay, I think what this was, Tastosis, is he's saying, you have to attack me because I'll go Defiler. Because he wants him to attack so that it's not over spores. If he's staying on Mutas, all he needs to do is hit all these Devourers with Scourge. And there he goes. He starts picking some off. The attack is coming. Action feels like he's on a timer here. But look at the Scourge count. Oh my God, that is so many Scourge. But not enough.
And he actually, he pulls away. I thought he was going to just, overwhelm him there. More Scourge are hatching. Is it 2 Scourge to kill a
I think it's
Devourer?
3, actually, right? Aren't they 250 health?
Okay. I don't know. I'm really not sure.
I believe they're 250 health, but I could be wrong. You very rarely see them. But it looks like Action falls behind there. And now with 3 bases, dude, you're going to have to really turtle his Action. I think he actually has to go home, make some more Spores and some more Devourers, and maybe go for... a Plague, Like, I don't see him winning an air battle at this point anymore.
Yeah. The Overlord's taken out. The Acid Spores, they do eventually evaporate. They're not permanent on there. But, the fact that Action's forced back, I do feel like he's painted himself into a corner now with his tech. efOrt's already taking the third base over here. And a third gas truly is so strong in this matchup. Action has to either get his own third base up here right now, or he needs to win in a big fight.
Yeah, this is really tough because he already lost all those Devours, which, you know, those were mutas, plus you have to spend extra. I believe it's like 150-50 to morph it. So, like, each one he morphed wasn't just the mutas, but, like, also half a muta as far as cost goes or something like that. Looks like he may want to just attack again. Are there going to be enough Scourge? Because don't forget, like, they are going to... Ooh, yeah, so it is 3 Scourge to kill, by the way. So there you go, yeah. It does look like it's 250. 250 health. Scourge do 110 damage, guys. There it is, yeah, 250. Look at that, Tastosis. Damn. Damn, I'm so smart, Tastosis. It's crazy.
You're so good.
Oh, my God.
So, effOrt is at +1 attack, +1 armor. I think that the upgrade situation over here, yeah, it's just +1 armor here for Action. And we got to imagine upgrades are in the tank right now here for effOrt again.
Yeah, you would imagine that both of them are upgrading consistently on their Spires right now. Huh.
No, I'm wrong, because is there a Greater Spire? No, there's no Greater Spire yet for effOrt.
Yeah, but effOrt, I think you can get 2-2 on a regular Spire, right? And then you need a Hive for 3-3.
Oh, I always thought you needed a Greater Spire for 2-2.
No, I'm 99% sure you can get 2-2.
This is a Terran player and a Protoss player trying to catch CVZ. Right? This is what you get.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I play enough like stupid like free-for-alls and stuff that I play like late game Zerg and get mute upgrades like in fun games
so you're
and
probably
stuff.
right.
So I'm 99% sure you can get at least 2-2 on just regular Spire. And I think it's the Hive gates 3-3, not the Greater Spire, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I'm pretty sure about that.
Well, I mean, the situation really hasn't changed yet. We have 3 bases here for effOrt. Action is turtling on 2 bases. Action does have the higher tech, but you got to notice that effOrt has all these Scourge as well. I feel like effOrt is slowly tightening the noose here. We're seeing Action come out one more time. I think Action has to make this next attack work.
Yeah.
Or he's not going to have any viability.
No, totally. He's trying to like take out the Scourge with the mutas. If the Devourers live, oh, that's beautiful. He's going to use Ensnare. That's a beautiful idea. Ensnare is really, really good. Yeah, see, oh, you can see how slow they shoot. They're like, should we shoot that?
That shot, it was like a boomerang flying around him.
Okay, 1-2 upgrades here for effOrt. I think effOrt's just going to take this Taste. I don't think Action has quite enough.
Oh, these shots are just awful. I hate this unit so much. Yeah, I think there's just too many Scourge here. And you can see that effOrt's layering the attacks. He's spread this out now. I think there's literally no more Devours. And then Snare comes down, GG. Wow, effOrt takes game 1 in a very cool and very unique Zerg vs. Zerg.
Dude, honestly, a sick game. Like, that was a really, really fun Zerg vs. Zerg. I think that effOrt... I think the biggest brain thing we saw was him starting the Queen's Nest, then canceling. Because when you see that, you're like, well, shit, if he goes into Defiler Hydra, Devourers are the worst unit you could ever have. So that forced Action to attack, and he was just waiting for him with Mass Scourge.
Yeah. A really impressive game. By the way, CVZ is just getting so cool.
It is. I'm actually really
so
enjoying
fun.
this. In past seasons, when we have ZVZ days, we're like, it's kind of lame. It'll just be fast. Dude, here, 20-plus minute macro game, sick. Awesome game. Awesome game.
Yeah, and 2 very different techs interacting with each other. You have that high-tech Devourer play versus that mid-game lock-in of the upgrades with mutas and Mass Scourge, and then to close it out with a Queen. So cool.
Yeah, and this game was just super, super well played by both sides, honestly. I do wonder if we see another Hive game, would either of them want to go? Because it feels like this is a good way to just counter Devours, is the Mass Scourge. So will we see the Defiler tech instead if we have another game that's looking like this?
Yeah, it's for me in my mind, I always default to Defilers as the unit that they're going to tech into, but I'm kind of learning as I'm casting these ZVZs that really there's a lot of different directions you can take the game, and it's not always fundamentally obvious which one is the right tech path.
And, you know, the thing is, if you don't have this many Scourge, like, even if, like, just a handful of these survive, the Acid Spores, like, you can stack up 10 plus Acid Spores, and that means, like, every glaive is doing an additional 10 damage. It's actually insane how much damage that they add to it. So, like, if you don't kill them all with Scourge, you absolutely will kill the Mutas. But yeah, that's not going to work out for Action this time. I don't know if we'll see Devourers again tonight, because it felt like that was such a strong counter.
We're just getting started, guys. This is a best of 5 here with effOrt versus Action. We're going to be going to a break, right now. And when we come back, we'll be going on to Game 2 on Neo Dark Origin. Do not go away.
우주급 텐션, 최고의 도킹, 핫식스 터킹.
똑같은 하루에서 답답함을 빼면 더 청량해질 거야. 제로처럼. 우리 없어도 되는 건 빼고 살자. 칠성사이다 제로. 청량한 이 순간 칠성사이다로부터. 칠성사이다.
추석 특집 아프리카TV 캐치 이벤트. 캐치가 풍년이라 캐치 만들고 시청에서 선물 받아가세요. 첫 번째 이벤트, 캐치를 만들어주세요. 우선 이벤트 게시물에 들어가서 이벤트 참여 댓글을 남긴 다음에 플레이어 하단의 버튼으로 캐치를 만들거나 60초 이내에 세로형 영상을 업로드하면 성공. 두 번째 이벤트, 캐치를 신나게 즐겨주세요. 이번에도 마찬가지로 이벤트 참여 댓글을 남기고 아프리카TV에서 캐치를 시청하기만 하면 성공. 추석 특집 아프리카TV 캐치 이벤트 지금 참여하세요.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We're going to go into Game 2 now here with effOrt versus Action. effOrt playing out of his mind right now. And what has been a really fun first Game 1. Really interesting late game tech, two different directions. Devourers versus what in the last few moments we got to see was the final tech on effOrt's side, that Queen that came out there with the ensnare.
Yeah, very, very cool to see so many different units, mass upgrades as well. I'm loving it, and I love that these two, in particular, when they play each other, are absolutely willing to take the game into a different direction. Like, we might look back, Tasteless, in another 5 years or so and be like, yeah, this all started in ASL 16 with Action versus effOrt, when all ZVZs start to look like this. It could be. We don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll go back and people figure out, like, nah, you just make more Muse and attack. But, like, I feel like it's evolving.
It does seem like that. It seems like we're getting more conservative play and less forced situations here in ZVZ. Like the fact that Action stayed back and got that greater spire and effOrt didn't try to close the game out. The way I see ZVZ, 3 years ago we would have just seen effOrt keep trying to make lings and run into the main, and otherwise Action just closes it out by having the extra base. But instead, very patient decisions here and really trying to go the extra mile and get into a place where it's not just about the Mutalisk, but about what can complement the Mutalisk. We're ready to go into Game 2 right now, guys, on Neo Dark Origin. Okay, we've got Action here in the top left, and in the bottom right, we've got effOrt. And yeah, let's get into it. Game number 2.
All right. Yeah, Dark Origin being a 2-player map. Something that I feel like we've noticed through ASL is a lot of games on 2-player maps have actually kind of been interesting for Zerg because there's more like dodging of Overlord paths. You know where your opponent's at, so you can time things out exactly how you want. So we've definitely seen like really cool tactical games on 2-player maps. Dark Origin specifically, this has always been like in every matchup. A map where mutas are going to be very good. Like that natural expansion is kind of in the middle of nowhere, right? There's a lot of angles that you can come in and everything. So, I mean, it's CVZ anyways, so, like, no matter what, you're going to see a muta opener. You know, lings and mutas until spores force otherwise.
There was a period of time where people were really heavily experimenting with Hydralisk openers in this matchup. This is like one of the first, in my mind, big debates that people had online is, you know, are Hydras viable at all in ZVZ? And the answer is basically no, they're not.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah. But the idea was that you would turtle and just keep making Hydras and spores, and then you would eventually push out on the map. Because Hydralisks are actually pretty okay against Mutalisks.
Yeah, they do all right against mutas, but when you mix those lings in, man, ooh, does it become hard.
Exactly, yeah. And the fact that, you know, the Mutalisks never have to engage with the Hydras unless the Hydras are at a point where they can force the game to end by killing your base. So anytime you try to leave your base with Hydras, the Mutas just fly in and kill all the drones. But yeah, I do have some memories of me and my brother basically, you know, trying to mess around with Hydra builds. And
even I used to do that back in the day too. You know, all of us when we were playing like full time as like teenagers and stuff, like played all the races more, right? Like nowadays you don't have as much time and stuff, but yeah, I did that where I was playing Hydra builds in ZVZ trying to make it work because it was fun. But yeah, not likely to see that actually. One thing to mention is after, I believe it was spurred on by that ZVZ, but Larva tried, and Larva's an ASL champion, he tried to make Hydras work in ZVZ, and I believe he had to, someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I believe he had to go all the way down to B rank for an ASL champion to win with Hydras in this matchup.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, there you go. That just shows you how hard it is to pull off. Action, by the way, is now just hammering this hatchery, and it looks like it's going to be a forced cancel. effOrt gets that drone out, no damage on it even, and is heading back. The sunken colony finishes just in the nick of time, and this is effOrt now forced onto one base.
Yeah, that's a little bit rough. I mean, he does have the sunken, so he's going to be pretty safe. He is going to remake the hatchery next to his main hatchery, so he's still going to get like a larva advantage here. But I think you got to look at it and give a nod towards Action's build, right? He has that map control. He has the threat of attacking in and a nice fast layer.
Yeah, and now we got to see here from Action. You know, he should have enough money for a second hatchery. Where is he going to make it? Is he going to make this in his main, or is he going to go to the natural? Oh, he's going to go to Spire first, but inevitably he will have a second hatchery.
Yeah, I think you'll. Well, I mean, you could do that high ground, mine the gas thing if you think you have to play defensively, but I think when you have this type of control and the quicker Spire, you're generally going to, when you make your second hatchery, go to the natural.
I think you're probably right. Yeah, that makes sense as you say it. That seems to be the only way you could take this, especially having this nice little concave at the bottom of the ramp here to block. The Spire starts. It's just a little bit later than the Spire for effOrt, so nobody's going to have a clear lead in like, you know, having Mutalisks. Basically, by the time that effOrt's Mutalisks, or sorry, Action's Mutalisks would come down and try to meet up with effOrt's Mutalisks, they would have hatched just in time. So this is a pretty neck-and-neck race.
Yeah, it looks like right now effOrt is trying to micro correctly here to break out. You know, you see these Zergling conga lines, and it's very hard. You can't attack move into them because they get better surface area because the lings are as close to each other as they can get. So you see effOrt taking smaller groups and trying to get at least even engagements there, but it's really, really hard to break out of.
More lings are being made. And, you know, it's very tricky to get in here and try to snipe the Zerglings on the low ground. You can see he's trying to do it, but you can tuck him back just like we saw there.
That was perfect.
And so far, Action's in a really good position right now.
He's holding this ridiculously well. This is one of the most effective Zergling lines I've seen. The effOrt, of course, has those extra larvae, so he is going to be able to break out here. And Action's going to lose all those Zerglings, so he better have some defense. It looks like his Muta's just hatched, but they're going to have to play defense here. There's Lings coming across for him right now.
Yeah, and the Spire's already done here for effOrt, so he'll be able to get his own Mutalisks out. It is 2 hatcheries versus 1, at least for now. Oh, I'm sorry, this other hatchery just finished, but the larva hasn't accumulated up to an amount where it can catch up to what effOrt's already done here. So maybe there's going to be some opportunities here for effOrt to try to come out on the map, and it looks like it is, because when you see Scourge hatching this early, that means he's looking for a fight.
Right. Right now, with those Scourge coming up, is he going to have a big enough advantage? He's actually going after the Overlords, which I can't really blame him. I mean, 2 Overlords there is pretty gigantic to get as kills. 2 Overlords at this stage of the game, that is 2 larvae and 200 minerals that we're going to have to see Action spend.
Yeah, with the death of this Overlord, that puts him at negative 28 to 18. Wow. And, that means he can't make any more mutas for the next couple of seconds. So if these Scourge connect, it's possible that effOrt could just get a fatal blow in here.
Some nice micro. Ooh, the Scourge do end up connecting. The counterattack comes in here from effOrt. A lot of Lings hitting the main base. The mutas have to go back home to help.
Yeah, the Lings come down and they start to hit these drones. It looks like Action handles this pretty perfectly.
Yeah, he did lose at least 1 drone there. I don't know if I heard 1 or 2 drone deaths, but a little bit of damage. effOrt keeping the pressure here on Action, at least.
Yeah, the Lings are going to come up now and try to get another drone here. So far, so good here for Action. The unfortunate part of what's happening here for effOrt is he doesn't really have access to his second base. He can't mine from it just yet. But it does seem like Action is going to hold overall.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I like the tactics that we've seen. Like the Lings running in while he's trying to pick off an Overlord so that you have to defend. Like right now, Action's entire defense is Mutalisk-based and this one sunken. So he has to be really careful about where he's flying around to. But if he does stabilize, having that extra base, that extra gas, will turn the game into his favor.
You can see right now effOrt just kind of hanging out outside here. Keep in mind that with the Overlords being killed, you don't really know what's going on the map, right? And you're a little bit scared to leave if you're Action, because it's always possible that effOrt flies in with his own Mutalisks and kills off your drones. And just like this.
Just like this. Exactly like this. Those Lings, like he went down to deal with them, and now his Mutalisk-based defense is having a hard time. He loses 4 drones there immediately. And look at this. The Mutas fly out while Lings go in. Dude, effOrt is a fucking master. This is insane. The fact that every time Action wants to attack his mutas, he has a counterattack that is forcing the movement of Action's mutas. effOrt is completely in control.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing so well. And you can see that Action just doesn't have a lot of opportunities here. We see that he's going to come out here now. I'm not clear. I think they're dead even on mutas. Is that correct?
It's close,
or very, very close.
It's really close.
It's also probably hard for either one to even tell who's ahead. But they're going to go around each other. And this means this game should just end very quickly.
Yeah.
Now, there's less. Yeah, so he could just come in here and get kills on all the workers. On both sides, actually.
Oh,
the Lings are going to
man.
kill off the Spire. The Sunken Colony is going to be killed. Drones are being taken out. And now he's going to pull these drones over here. So I think there's literally no drones for either side in this game now.
It's 7 mutas against 8 mutas. There are some Lings here which actually kill buildings really, really fast. Taking out some additional Overlords as well. Both players just about broke. Some Scourge are popping out. So, Action's up 1 muta, but 1 muta is at, 1 hit. And then they both have some Scourge in there. I'm not sure how this ends.
Well, Zerglings destroy buildings really fast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I am actually not clear. Okay, hold on. There's going to be a big fight.
Oh, he actually took some big hits there from the Scourge. I think Action has more. Oh, no.
Yeah,
never mind. I'm crazy.
Yeah, effOrt takes it.
Dude.
It's hard to cast CVC muta fights.
Yeah, that was Like, I feel like effOrt outplayed him so significantly there, Tasteless. Like, the way that he was sending Lings in to make sure his smaller Mutalisk count couldn't be attacked, his counterattacks, every time Action made even the slightest error, effOrt capitalized on it. I say again, I think he's winning this ASL. I think effOrt is, like, the best player right now. This is insane watching him play.
Well, this is also crazy for me because I never really see Action outclassed like this. Like, when Action loses, it's always a solid game, but right now, effOrt is running circles around him.
Yeah, he really, really is. This is, it's amazing to see. Yeah, I don't even, I can't put enough praise upon the play I'm watching here. Like, watch this move, right? So his Lings were in the front and Action went after them, so he flies in for that counterattack you were talking about, kills several drones. Action has more mutas here, so he's chasing, but as the Lings come in, he must stop them or he'll lose every single drone.
Yeah, he made this perfect maneuver where he comes in, kills some drones, and then circles around, kills hatching drones at the natural, and then gets back out. And that was probably the blow dealt to Action that where he decided he has to go all in.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we saw here. And I'll tell you what, pretty scary all in here for Action as well. You know, give him credit where it's deserved.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, effOrt, you know, because of that move he did earlier, has just enough resources to have just enough more Mutalisks and Scourge to then take that fight.
Yeah, and with those Lings attacking buildings as well, they do kill everything so quickly. More Scourge popping out here. You know, I thought that we actually had more mutas for Action, and then I felt like we actually, because, right, look, he has 8 mutas there, and he has, like, 4 Scourge. And I believe it's 7 mutas over here. Yeah, that's 7 mutas. But he has a few more Scourge in there. That's why I was thinking, like, oh, God, Action's going to be able to take this. But then they started this battle. Okay, let's see what actually happened here. Yeah, that's actually a lot of Scourge, isn't it? So we heard 1 die. But yeah, a bunch of the Scourge there did hit for effOrt.
A lot of effOrt fans here in the audience. You know, this guy was a legend back in the day. I mean, there was a period where it was really people saying, okay, who is it? Is it Jaedong or is it effOrt? That's how good he was.
Yeah.
And now he's back, and he's up 2-0. Guys, short break. When we come back, we're going to go to Invader for map number 3.
우주급 텐션 최고의 토킹 핫식스 토킹.
똑같은 하루에서 답답함을 빼면 더 청량해질 거야. 제로처럼. 우리 없어도 되는 건 빼고 살자. 칠성사이다 제로. 청량한 이 순간 칠성사이다로부터. 칠성사이다.
추석 특집 아프리카TV 패치 이벤트. 패치가 풍년이다. 패치 만들고 시청에서 선물 받아가세요. 첫 번째 이벤트, 패치를 만들어주세요. 우선 이벤트 게시물에 들어가서 이벤트 참여 댓글을 남긴 다음에 플레이어 하단의 버튼으로 패치를 만들거나 60초 이내에 세로형 영상을 업로드하면 성공. 두 번째 이벤트, 캐치를 신나게 즐겨주세요. 이번에도 마찬가지로 이벤트 참여 댓글을 남기고 아프리카TV에서 캐치를 시청하기만 하면 성공. 추석 특집 아프리카TV 캐치 이벤트 지금 참여하세요.
Welcome back. Thank you for waiting. We are ready to go into game number 3 here. Tastosis, I'm kind of feeling like this is going to be a 3-0. effOrt looks so scary.
He looks unbelievable. Like really, the way that he is controlling these Zerg vs. Zergs looks unlike anything we've seen in Zerg vs. Zerg for a long time. He's using the right mind games, the right macro, the right micro, the right unit movements. He's baiting action out. He's forcing action to do what he wants action to do. Like this is one of my favorite ZVZ series I've ever seen already, and it's just because effOrt is playing out of his mind.
Well, you look at game 1, and it exhibited a really deep understanding of exactly what action was teching into and how to handle it and how to stay back, including that cancel early on the Queen's Nest.
Yeah.
That baited the Mutalisks out. Or actually, I guess I should rephrase that. He saw the Queen's Nest, and then he canceled it after the vision was gone. But it prompted action to come in and attack him, and then he was able to fend that off with the Scourge. And ultimately close that out later on with the Queen's Nest being remade and having ensnare. So really crazy endgame tech. But then you look at game 2 and it's so different. It was a total tactical win here, where he was able to swoop through, kill off a couple drones, then send Zerglings in as almost like a decoy there to draw attention away from the Mutalisks that only did further damage into the natural on those drones. And from there, action was forced to do an all-in. So 2 very different ZVZs, and both of them, effOrt comes out completely and totally on top.
Yeah. And that being said, like, can action win some games here? I think so. Like, his Zerg vs. Zerg still is very, very strong. You know, he is being outplayed at the moment, but you get the right build order, you get the right situation that maybe you prepped for a bit more than effOrt, and I think he could start a comeback. But yeah, right now, honestly, I'm like looking towards the finals. I'm like, can effOrt beat Rush in a best of 5 or a best of 7? You know, that's what I'm thinking about it right now, watching those first 2 games.
Yeah, well, I'm very not used to seeing action get beat up in a ZVZ like we're seeing right now. He's been very consistent in that matchup, and usually it's a breeze for him. But here we are, and effOrt with such precision is just cutting him down.
Yeah, it's pretty magnificent. Action has had one of the highest win rates in ASL for Zerg vs. Zerg, so that is good that you point that out.
I think it's 67%, I think.
Yeah, it was right around there before this match started. Like it was mid-60s, which is really high for Zerg vs. Zerg, really super high. So he's done very well in it, but effOrt may make his stats take a nosedive.
It looks like it. We're going to go to Invader. Let's not forget this is a map with only 2 spawns, so there is some sneaky stuff you can do here in a map, circumnavigating overlords that are scouting and all sorts of stuff like that. So maybe we have an interesting game here to start this off. It does look like we're ready. This is game number 3. Right now, effOrt up 2-0 in this best of 5 to see who goes on the round of 4 in the ASL. Okay. We always mention this once in a game, and we're going to do it now in game 3. Guys, if you love what we're doing, you want to support StarCraft in the English language, please check out our Patreon. It's patreon.com/ASL English.
Yeah, we thank you guys so much for your support, over the last couple of years here, and ASL still going strong. I think we've made some big strides in getting it out quicker and quicker for you guys, and we'll continue to do our best. So thank you much to everyone who has supported so far.
And it's I don't know, there's something so cool about how old this is, and that it's just so obvious at this point in time it's not going to go away. You know, like there has always been a little bit of hysteria around StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2 about, like the esports thing is going to go away, or how is Blizzard supporting it, or what about Kespa, or all that. I mean, by now it's just so self-evident that this is a sustainable thing. The players, are so engaged with the game. They're bringing such great games. The fans have been so supportive. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good time to be a fan of StarCraft.
Yeah, and I want to mention this. I've said it a couple times in the past, but the very first time that I saw anyone type online dead game about StarCraft was in 2001. And here we are in 2023, and StarCraft is doing fantastically. Like, it is super popular. Everyone's streaming it. People, huge audiences are coming to show up and support their favorite fans and players. I mean, in the non-Korean scene, we have like a huge base of people that love to watch the ASL, as well as, you know, private streams and other VODs and stuff. And so, yeah, this is honestly one of the games that just isn't going to go away, right? Like, I think there's a handful of those, right? We're always going to have a Street Fighter that's being played. Counter-Strike is always going to be played. You know, Brood War is always going to be played. You know, there's just a whole set of those.
Is out there.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm under the impression that Rocket League is probably never going to go away. That's probably one of the newer ones that's just, you know, it's here.
Maybe.
Yeah, there's probably about, you know, maybe a dozen or less games that are just fixtures of the whole esports scene. And this is the original one. This is the one that basically proved that this could continue to exist. And frankly, this one is actually has a scene that's a lot healthier than many of these other ones. Most of these other events don't have you know, production anywhere near the scope of an ASL.
Yeah.
Or anywhere near as diehard of a scene for it. So
well,
it's very cool.
It makes sense. I like a lot of those other games as well, but this is the best one, and you guys know that. That's why you're watching the true
by
greatest
far the
game.
most interesting one.
Yeah. Now, we just saw Two Lings try to skirt around. Yeah, he's kind of skirting around this Overlord, but it looks like the Overlord is going to spot some of that. We were talking about that earlier, where you can have your timings really sharp on some of these maps where you can like avoid Overlord scout routes. I don't know if that's what he was trying for there, but it looks like it doesn't quite work for effOrt if he was. But right now I see him just spreading his Lings and running everywhere. I think he's looking to see if he missed any Lings that might be out on the map, because that's certainly a tactic that we see from top Zerg players where, you know, his Sulky comes to mind where like he always has 2 Lings hidden somewhere that he can counterattack with.
Sure, yeah. Spire is coming along. The second hatch is developing here for action, so we're going to need to see another hatchery here for effOrt, and we want to see, is that going to be in the main or is this going to be at the natural? Because right now neither player can really do much damage to each other.
Yeah, you know, with this line of Zerglings up at the top for action, he is blocking anything from coming up, of course. We've talked about this a lot, this kind of tactic. And he does have that second hatchery. It's kind of interesting, right? Like, action is going to have more larvae, for sure. But effOrt's taking that natural. So we have that kind of interesting dichotomy where if he can hold off the extra larva that action is making right now, he should be able to mine. It's like the reverse of what we had in the previous game, right? Where action had the expansion and then effOrt had the second hatch in main, and effOrt just tactically outplayed action there and was able to win. Can action do that to effOrt?
Yeah, let's see. The Spire is about to complete here, and we've got about 600 gas banked up here for action. So that's going to be 6 mutas, or maybe, you know, a couple mutas and Scourge that are going to be made here. Versus what looks like it's going to be at least 3 Mutalisks coming out here for effOrt, as that second hatchery is almost finished.
All right, let's see what these guys are going to field. I think the Zergling's obviously going to have to run back as soon as mutas are popping out. And can effOrt get that second gas actually going at some point? Obviously, there's going to be some play back and forth before we get to that stage. But you know, he gets his mutas out first and will start going after these Overlords.
Yeah, this is another game where action has Overlords that really can't be defended yet. And so that's going to lock him out of supply. And, you know, a lot of times you'll see an Overlord killed in a TVZ or a PVZ, and it's always something, right? But it's fairly inconsequential. To lose an Overlord in ZVZ is huge because you just don't have that many routes to produce. You only have larvae coming out of 2 hatcheries. And so that's a big hiccup in production.
Yeah, and you have so few drones, it's like the minerals themselves are actually precious. Now, in comes an attack here from action. There are more mutas, I believe, here for effOrt, but the amount of Scourge getting in on top of his mutas, is he going to be able to just finish this game right now? That's what action is going for, but his mutas taking a beating, and it looks like, oh my god, is effOrt just going to win? GG! An absolutely dominating 3-0.
Dude. Wow. that was crazy. Yeah, he just shut that down so perfectly. Look, undeniably, effOrt is the better ZVZ player. 3 completely different games, all 3 having the exact same outcome. A victory there for effOrt.
Well, effOrt well-deserved here in his victory. He really, really outplayed Action from... Like, he outplayed Action in the mirror of this, and then he outplayed him from the position Action was in previously, right? Like, it's just... effOrt showed himself to be a stronger Zerg vs. Zerg player here tonight. It was an awesome series, and it feels like Destiny at this point. Look at his pose, even. That's Destiny Tastosis. Yeah. He's taking this ASL down, man. And in fact, I want to say...
for victory.
Like, I mean, we already went over this game, so we don't need to say it too much, but the upcoming match of him versus Mini is going to be unbelievable as far as Zerg vs. Protoss goes, like, from both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure who I'm supposed to root for.
No.
I think I'm supposed to be rooting for Mini because he's the Protoss and I'm a Protoss player, but, like, just seeing how effOrt played today, it's like, man. So this was Action clearly believing that he had an opportunity to shut the game down. And look at the Scourger flying in here. effOrt basically controls so well, he's able to snipe down enough of the Scourge. And one thing about Muta versus Muta that you have to always bear in mind is that once the fight starts, you really can't get out of it because, you know, it's the same units, so the same speed. So you can always be killed off if you're trying to retreat. We're going to go to an interview now here with effOrt and see how he's feeling. He is closing out the round of 8 and being that final player who is now advanced here to the Final Four.
And with this, the quarterfinal stage of ASL 16 with Hot 6 is behind us as effOrt makes it into the round of 4. Congratulations. Thank you. It seems the Hawk isn't extinct yet. effOrt, you had another best of 5 victory in the round of 8 to your record, returning after a while. How does it feel to once again be greeted by loud cheers from the fans? To be honest, before this season started, I hesitated a lot whether I should even participate. But my wife and my fans were always by my side, so I decided to try in the end. I took their support, put in the work, and it's paying off. It would have been a shame if you hadn't participated. You keep showing interesting games for the fans' enjoyment. It seemed preparing for today's best of 5 ZVZ was a bit of a burden because it's been a while, but you came into it with multitasking and decisiveness and showed a very high level of play. Can you tell us a bit more about how you prepared? For starters, I got a lot of help from my peers. They were very diligent. That helped me a lot. I came into today with a relaxed mindset. If I win, I win. If I lose, then at least a good friend of mine makes it through. So I was ready to be supportive of Action if I had lost. I think it's that relaxed mindset that let me win. If we talk game specifics now, you went for a 9 pull in the first game, but you failed to destroy Action's natural. After that, Action bought himself time with spores and went up to high tech. Did you expect to run into Devourers? Even if I didn't expect it, I did scout the hive, so I knew it would be either Devourers or Defilers, and then I managed to confirm the Greater Spy with Scourge. Whenever I played Devourers, this Scourge play was quite demanding, so I tried it and it was the driving force behind that win. So through practice and experience with Devourers, you concluded that Mass Scourge is the way to beat it. Yes. I would always lose in that scenario as the Devourer player. In the second set, it was Action instead who opted for a 9 pull. Seeing that, you decided to cancel your natural in favor of defending inside your main. You massed Zerglings and managed to break through Action's contain. What was your judgment at that point? Honestly, I kind of ruled out 9 pull play during practice, so it wasn't a situation that popped up during practice. I just got a bit lucky. I think if Action had done what I did and gone for a quick lair, I would have had trouble. But thankfully my lair timing was good thanks to the cancel and I think that's why I won. Well, you follow that up with another good counter to Action's game-deciding move in Game 3 to take a clean 3-0 as you move on to the semi-finals. If you manage to get through the round of 4, you'll be entering the final stage for a chance at your 3rd ASL championship in your career. Before that happens, you have to face off against Mini, who has beaten you in a best of 5 before. And in his interview yesterday, he stated that gives him confidence if he were to go up against you. What about you, though? Well, it's an opportunity for revenge, if anything. I'll do what I can to get payback. Well, now that's an answer to get people excited about you. You're saying playtime is over? No, I think it's my relaxed attitude that let me get this far. I might have raised people's expectations with that, but I will still take things easy. Well, I think there's still an attitude change, though. We will wait to see how well you do in a best of 7 this time. Do you have anything to say to your fans and colleagues? First and foremost, I would like to send my wife love. She always supports me at home. I'm very thankful for her. I'm also grateful to all the fans and friends who came to cheer me on ahead of this game. I'd like to thank Baxter, Sulky, Hero, Jaedong, and Hyuk for practicing with me. They actually put more work into analyzing and preparing for today than I did. It was a big help, so big thanks to them. But once again, congratulations on advancing to the semi-finals. Thank you. And that wraps up our interview with the last round of 4 contender, effOrt.
Well, he knows how to do ZVZ, but he doesn't know how to walk off the set. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that's a pure pro gamer right there.
That's a total pro gamer move there to not know which way to walk off the stage. Wow, look, I didn't think this was going to be a 3-0. I thought we were going to go to Game 5, and I thought Action was going to win, but man, was I wrong. effOrt just killed it today.
Dude, he's just in such good shape, and it feels like it came out of nowhere. When he qualified, I was like, he's active? Like, you know, I don't keep super close track of effOrt, but he just pops up every now and then and is God tier. He's truly one of the greatest ever, and I feel like he's showing that this season. Like, his games have been unreal. He's beating everybody, you know, where some of these other Zergs are just not able to hold up as strongly as he is.
Look, he might actually just win this whole ASL. Look, I was not a believer, honestly, in every step that effOrt took. I thought this is very cool that he's here, but I've seen this before. I've watched Bisu go deep many times and kind of get shut out by some of these newer, little bit younger players, but man, he just murdered there. And let's not forget, there's a possible ZVZ finals here as well. Let's say that Sulky beats Rush in this upcoming match, and effOrt beats Mini. Look, I think the effOrt is probably the best ZVZer in the whole tournament.
For sure. For sure. I can't disagree with that, especially Sulky, who has struggled with that in the past. But, you know, that is our next match coming up, Rush versus Sulky. I don't know about you. I'm kind of leaning towards Rush, but Sulky was so impressive coming back against JYJ.
That's right. And, you know, Sulky, we've been saying it forever, he should be winning an ASL. But Rush is, especially right now in the last 2 years, looking to be one of the very best StarCraft players ever.
Yeah.
And by the way, guys, that you can see the date there. That's going to be recorded on Wednesday at 7 p.m. So that'll be out a little bit later than normal because we have to record this after the actual thing happens. Normally these matches are on Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
So just a little reminder there.
Yeah, so the video after this one will be like slightly later, just because of when it's held in the week. But we are getting right to the end of this tournament, and a best of 7 between these two is going to be amazing. I can't wait to see what type of styles they both want to bring here to the round of 4.
And of course, Mini versus effOrt. I'm personally so excited for this. I'm way more excited for this semifinal here. You know, we've talked about how much Zerg have dominated in the season, but, you know, a byproduct of that is how much Protoss have suffered. And so, You know, we were worried we wouldn't even have a Protoss in the Final Four, but Mini is the lone survivor. And who knows? Maybe he beats effOrt. Maybe he goes all the way to the finals and a Protoss takes the thing anyways.
It's a real possibility. You know, Mini's planning in a PVZ is second to none. I think he's going to come in with unbelievable builds. You know, he's got a good week plus of prep time here to go up against effOrt. But effOrt is just such a legend, and he's so on that I feel like it's going to be really hard to beat effOrt. But if someone can do it, it's Mini.
Yeah, certainly. And you know, Mini, he's for a little bit it looked like he might just overtake everybody and be the best StarCraft player in the whole world.
Yeah.
But he did have some difficulties, especially in the group stages. Mini seems to suffer. He doesn't seem to know how to map out a best of one. That might sound weird, but I think I'll stand by the statement. I think he's much better in a best of 5.
Yeah.
And so, look, I mean, this is another chance for Mini to kind of come in here and elbow everybody out of the way and take the spotlight. And look, you know, Flash wasn't in this season. I thought he was going to be back and playing again. I don't know if he's going to be in the next season. We're kind of waiting, but for now, you know, it's a battle over that crown, over that throne of who's really the best.
Yeah, yeah, and honestly, both Mini and effOrt, if they win, they get moved up, right? It's like as probably the second best ASL player ever. It's pretty impressive. So, you know, looking towards that, I don't know what we're going to end up with in the finals, but every single match you could. Even ZVZ right now, I'm really excited about. What a great time to be a StarCraft fan.
Yeah, it's been really fun. And this is the part where Tastosis, he told me before he wants to be the guy who's talking because he's the only one on camera, but I am going to just do it again. I'm going to keep talking. Tastosis, are you ready to mouth out what I say?
Yeah, Tastosis. So let's close out the show.
All right. You ready? Okay, here we go. Terran is the easiest race, and I don't have the balls to play Protoss.
You stop right now. Okay. You're absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe that. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for the support on Patreon. Check it out, patreon.com/ASL English. And we'll see you guys in the round of 4.